First, the honourable member for Cape Breton, Canso, regarding Human Resources and Skills Development Canada.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And I'll tell you, I think it's pretty interesting that so many of my friends from Leduc, and geez, we got them all waiting for the supplemental here and the late show performance. They want to be inspired over there. Mr. Speaker, the issue that we're talking about today in this adjournment proceeding is one that has created a great deal of concern among Canadians, among a great number of Canadians. I know as the Human Resources Skills Development critic, I had been inundated, once the revelation came forward, I had been inundated with notes of concern from Canadians who had their security breached in what's been referred to as the single largest security breach in the history of this country. And, you know, as my colleague would know, almost 1 in 60 Canadians were impacted by this security breach. So it's fairly significant. Now, Mr. Speaker, you know, we won't get into the technical aspects of the actual breach or you know, what the government's going to do around that breach, because we know that there's been a significant breach since. I think what I'd like to focus on here with my question is about those that are impacted, about those that are exposed, because we know that when a Canadian loses or has their identity stolen, we know the complications that brings. It has an impact on banking accounts, on credit ratings, on you know, a whole variety of how we go about living life from day to day, and certainly exposes them to a great deal of risk. And that's the nub of my concern, is about what the government has done or what it hasn't done in making sure that their information is protected. And we know that back in February, when department officials, February 14th, as a matter of fact, Mr. Speaker, when the department officials appeared at the Human Resources Committee, I had asked at that time why the government wasn't following its own agency, the Financial Consumer Agency of Canada and the Privacy Commissioner of Canada, who both recommended as a minimum, whenever Canadians have their security breached and are exposed to identity theft, that both organizations recommended that people should place a fraud alert on their credit union, on their credit file as a minimum. And there are 2 agencies that provide that in Canada, 2 companies, and that's Equifax and TransUnion. And Mr. Speaker, the government itself accessed Equifax, and they secured the services of Equifax. But their own agencies, both agencies, identify, even on their website, that both Equifax and TransUnion should be used, and their services should be secured going forward. We're not even certain if all the people who've had that security breached, had that privacy breached, we're not sure if they've been made aware already. I think it was up to about 85,000 people that have been contacted and notified. The government had indicated at the time that they were going to embark on a campaign of contacting Canadians, and then as well those agencies would also be in contact. So my question, Mr. Speaker, if I could, it's simple. Why are we not using TransUnion, the other company, as advised by those 2 agencies? Why are we not securing their services to protect the security of those who had their security?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Human Resources.
Monsieur le Président, nul doute que le perte de renseignements personnels est totalement inacceptable. C'est la raison pour laquelle nous avons pris des mesures pour faire en sorte que de telles situations ne se reproduisent plus. The matter has been referred to the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, and they will decide how and when to proceed with respect to this matter. The offices of the Privacy Commissioner is investigating And the HRSDC officials have been instructed by the Minister to provide their full cooperation, as we had outlined at committee. Individuals whose information was involved were contacted by the department, and public notice was given to all Canadians to reach those whose contact information was no longer valid. To answer the member's question directly, all affected social insurance numbers are being annotated by the Social Insurance Registry so that at any time a request to modify the SIN record or replace a SIN card is made, agents will ask for additional information and photo identification. An agreement has been signed with Equifax Canada so that affected clients can request that a notation be placed on their credit files free of charge. What does this mean, Mr. Speaker? This is to protect credit ratings for those students whose information went missing. When a creditor views a credit file with the client's consent, they will see an alert that will advise them to look for additional proofs of identity. This enables the creditor to confirm the identity of the individual they're communicating with and helps protect individuals from having accounts opened or using their name. Nous avons mis en place des protocoles plus stricts et maîtres de sécurité pour éviter que des situations similaires surviennent à nouveau. Officials have been instructed to implement disciplinary measures for staff up to and including termination should the strict code of privacy and security not be followed, and the new measures include the prohibition of portable hard drives in all departmental offices. Unapproved USBs will not be connected to the department's networks. Mandatory training for all employees regarding the proper handling of sensitive data is being implemented, and new data loss protection technology is being developed to control and prevent future sensitive information from going amiss. Ces messieurs sont mis en œuvre pour prévenir de telles intentions à venir. These measures are being implemented in order to prevent such an occurrence in the future. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Cape Breton-Canso.
Well, Mr. Speaker, one thing we know is that when we posed these questions to the government back a number of months ago, the standard lines were, number one, we're very concerned. Number two, we take this very serious. Well, if they were very concerned and they took it very serious, then they would pay attention to the advice of both of the federal agencies. Let me read you this from the Privacy Commissioner's website under frequently asked questions. What should I do if my personal information is compromised by a data breach? Simple. Contact fraud departments in the 2 major credit bureaus, request that a fraud alert be placed on your files, order copies of your credit report, and repeat this step in 6 months. That's on the website of the Privacy Commissioner. So if they're concerned and if they take it seriously, Mr. Speaker, why would they not contract TransUnion to protect the security of these individuals?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And as I previously mentioned, this loss of information was absolutely and completely unacceptable. That's why we brought in the Privacy Commissioner, and that's why we actually asked the RCMP to investigate. And as I mentioned in my previous speech to the member opposite, we have spoken with Equifax, and they are providing a service to Canadians. When the data was lost, data loss was first discovered, we moved to strengthen and improve what was occurring at the department with regards to handling and storage of personal information. The protection and security of personal information remains our priority, and we're acting to ensure that such things do not happen again in the future. Thank you.